Good morning, everyone. Most welcome to a special meeting of the Health Committee. It is Wednesday, March 27th, 9:15 a.m. I am calling the meeting to order. As we gather this morning, I wish to acknowledge on behalf of committee and our community that we meet on traditional territory of the Algonquin Nation. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. We're extremely grateful for their many and continuing displays of friendship. We thank as well all the generations of people who have been careful stewards of this land for millennia. With that, Ms. Chaput, has the roll been called?
Good morning, Chair. Yes, it has, and we have quorum.
Thank you so much. We do have quorum. I would invite committee now disclosure of pecuniary interest, and if any, the general nature thereof, please. I recognize none. There was no administration department report at the time of mailing. We will go directly then. I assume that continues to be accurate. Mr. Kelly.
Yes, it does, Chair, although I will have a closed report today.
Thank you. With that, then, I will go directly to Deputy Chief Grenier to please take us through the Emergency Services Department report, please.
Thank you to you, Chair, to the committee. We have Ocean Care Dove interrogation recommendation that L Committee recommend to County Council to adopt a bylaw authorizing the warden and clerk to sign Ocean Health Information Network agreement and participant listen agreement with the Family Medicine Care Innovation Streamline online booking and referral services for community program. And the background is that Ocean Care Dove integration stream from Ontario Valley Health team, integration and the digital integration subcommittee, who's supporting all organizations that are already integrated with CareDove to communicate with each other. Ocean is like a tunnel where all our stakeholders can communicate and integrate with CareDove. Community paramedic program interact with more than 250 partners, and this will help to streamline our referral process and our communication. The Ontario Health has a strategy initiative about patient before paperwork, and this integration with Ocean would help eliminate our faxing machine and streamline our communication process. Please see the Ocean Health Information Network agreement attached in Appendix ES1.
Thank you. I'd seek a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Murphy, seconded by Councillor Nicholson. Thank you very much for the information, Deputy Chief. Questions, comments, committee? Councillor Nicholson, please.
Thank you, Chair. Very supportive of this initiative. Question is just in terms of that background support for the Ocean CareDove system. I know it's used by a number of different organizations within the community. Is the OHT going to be providing that support? We're just adding it to our repertoire in order to be able to communicate in that same network?
Deputy Chief, please.
Thank you. So in our region and mostly the Champlain region, Ocean and CareDove are software that are integrated for all primary care, home and community care, and other services that are used in the community. And this integration is the one that's supported by OH and OHT in our region.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Back to you for item number 2, please, Deputy Chief.
Perfect. The recommendation that the L Committee recommend that the County Council adopt a bylaw authorizing the warden and clerk to sign the letter of agreement with Pembroke Regional Hospital as a representative of mental health services in Renfrew County to provide mental health services assistant individual to navigating mental health care system through our MASSA project, with the goal of reducing the number of community death and hospital emergency visit.
I'd seek mover, please. Councillor Lafreniere, seconded by Councillor Weir. Background, please.
The background is the goal of this letter agreement is to foster a better collaboration between mental health services, and the objective is to incorporate the mental health worker within their MASSA team. And this partnership will enhance the community paramedic ability to system navigate individual with mental health crisis and use their expertise and experience to build better relationship with our vulnerable population, to be able to support them in the community where they live. Please see the attached letter agreement in Appendix ES2.
Thank you once again, Deputy Chief. Once again, committee, any questions or comments? Councillor Lafreniere, please.
Just a comment. I think this is a very timely collaboration between paramedics and CMH. They're the boots on the ground. So, given the social issues that we're facing right now, I want to congratulate everyone who's been behind MESA. I did review the entire brochure, and I just want to commend you for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And once again, Deputy Chief Grenier, item 3, please.
The PRIAS electronic patient medical record recommendation that ELK Committee recommend to County Council to adopt a bylaw authorizing the Warden and Clerk to sign a software as service subscription agreement with PRIAS Inc. to provide a platform for electronic patient call record.
Thank you. Once again, committee, a mover, please. Councillor Yon, seconded by Councillor Grills. Background, please, Deputy Chief.
The County of Renfrew Paramedic Services has selected PRIAS as the electronic patient call report services. We went through an extensive evaluation through a request for proposal submission. We have only 2 software vendors who submit and met our minimum criteria, PRIAS and ESO. Our evaluation team evaluate over 150 criteria to make our decision, and PRIAS came on top. The rollout of this software would commence should it receive a council approval. And the rollouts would include acquisition of hardware, integration with our dispatch center, educate all our paramedic, and deploying the software throughout our services. The detailed plan will be communicated when approved. It is important to note that the costs associated with this software were approved accordance to our current annual budget, and all the detail of the finance and the costs are attached in the appendix below. The software is also currently used in our community paramedic program, and the goal is to have an integration of their 911 in the community to provide a better access and support of our client and be more efficient in our care. See software as service subscription in Appendix 3.
Thank you. Committee, questions, comments? Councillor Nicholson, please.
Thanks, Chair. Just a question. I know that the Pembroke Regional Hospital is implementing EPIC, and I'm just curious how PRIHOS compares to EPIC, or how they might work together to support our residents.
Thank you. Deputy Chief, please.
So talking with the vendor, they are actually working with SickKid right now, so they have a contract with them, and they're working on the integration of Meditech and EPIC to make sure that our software would be compatible and have that integration capability. So that's a work in progress, and that's something that the other vendor are not able to do at this point.
Thank you. Just as a follow-up, one of the things that has been in the back of my mind niggling is that as we are migrating to these electronic medical records, that we're not building a Tower of Babel. And it occurred to me, actually, even with respect to item number 1 today, the Ocean Care Dove, that this is in relation, I believe, to the Ottawa Valley Ontario Health Team, though, of course, the Arnprior region is served through the Three Rivers Ontario Health Team, that I am presuming that there is an interoperability, and in fact, on these, and I'll be very careful not to reveal my ignorance of the digital realm, But these seem like they are serving a different purpose, but they also, in my estimation, particularly as Deputy Chief Grenier had referred to the patients before paper, the important element to our health system should not be how easy it is to administer it should be how it is servicing the needs of our community. So I think it is important, the question that Councillor Nicholson asked, that there is always going to be this interoperability. The warden is in the room, and one of his standing examples was how many of the different hospital cards that he must have with him at each time, and it is like shuffling a deck of cards depending on which community he is in if he feels the need that he must drop by a hospital. So we must move past that. Anyway, thank you for the answer. Thank you for the question. Anything further? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And finally, I think it's finally.
Yeah.
Sure enough. Finally, Deputy Chief, item 4.
The Community Paramedic Long-Term Care Funding Extension. The recommendation that the ELK Committee recommend that County Council adopt a bylaw authorizing the warden and clerk to sign a transfer payment agreement between the County of Renfrew and the Ministry of Long-Term Care.
Thank you. Again, a mover, please. Councillor Frenier, seconded by Councillor Wilmer. Background, please.
So the background is the government of Ontario, through the Ministry of Long-Term Care, provided County of Renfrew with $4 million to continue for 2 years, 2024 to 2026, the Community Paramedic Long-Term Care Program. The funding letter and transfer payment agreement is attached in Appendix ES4.
Thank you. Questions? And a third time. I see the hand there, but the hand is shaking, so I am terribly sorry, Councillor Nicholson. It was my mistake, my misunderstanding. Just a couple of comments, and I have not, I will be quite upfront, I have not had time to carefully review the budget yesterday. How it relates to this, very pleased that I am seeing that the province is initiating a move towards expanding our medical schools. Very pleased as well that the province is adding, I believe it's something on the order of $526 million towards enhancing family health teams. That model of primary care is the gold standard now. It is the goal, I believe, so very pleased at that. However, the overall increase to health is not meeting inflation, which is a large concern, and that's where it brings the rubber to the road on what we're looking at. We had $2 million. I am enormously grateful that the province is funding community paramedics in long-term care. We understand the challenge from both Mr. Blackmore and the chief, that we have a lot of people in homes that are on the waiting list, that are seeking those places. This is enhancing the availability of acute care, the hospital sector, alternative level of care, etc. So very pleased that the province has recognized the value in this, the value to us, the value to the system. However, we received $2 million in 2023. We are anticipating receiving $2 million in 2024, and that is staying static. So while I would suggest that I am pleased that it is not diminishing, it in fact, in the real world of dollars, is. In an inflationary period, particularly as we are seeing collective agreements being renegotiated, as we are now beginning to see a diminishment of our inflation rate, it is on the cusp of returning into the Bank of Canada's target range. Nonetheless, we are experiencing still the effects of the inflationary period over the last 2 years. So this is diminishing on an annual basis. So I am finding myself in that schizophrenic area where I am very thankful to have the money, but we need to have this reflecting the cost pressures that we are experiencing every year as we are delivering these and all of our services, both the legacy 911 system, but all of the community paramedic programs. With that, any further comment or question? Seeing none, all in favor? I'd now seek a motion to approve the report as a whole, please. Councillor Grills, seconded by Warden Emo. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much, Deputy Chief. And Mr. Blackmore, if you would be so kind as to take us through the long-term care report, please.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee, item number 1 on page 177 seeks a bylaw authorizing an agreement with Ontario Health for PSW recruitment and retention incentive funding. A recommendation that the Health Committee recommends County Council adopt a bylaw authorizing the warden and clerk to sign the Personal Support Worker Initiatives 2023 to 2026 funding support agreement with Ontario Health for participation in any in any or all of the 2023-2026 PSW initiatives, including clinical placement stipend, recruitment incentive, and/or relocation incentive.
Thank you, Mr. Blackmore. I would seek a mover, please. Councillor Wilmer, seconded. Councillor Murphy. Background, please. Mr. Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair. Through to committee background, Ontario Health is providing incentive funding to attract personal support workers to work in long-term care homes as well as home and community care agencies. Available funding provides up to $5,440 to PSW students as a stipend during their clinical placement in a long-term care home and/or home and community care employer. A $10,000 to recent PSW graduates in exchange for 12-month commitment to work in a long-term care home or for a home and community care employer, and an additional $10,000 to support relocation costs for those recent PSW graduates committing to work in a long-term care home or with a home and community care employer in rural, remote, or northern areas for 12 months. PSW Initiative 2023-26 funding agreement is attached as Appendix LTC 1.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blackmore. Committee, any questions or comments? Most pleased to see a continued recognition of the enormity of the challenge of recruitment of particularly personal support workers, whether it is long-term care or right across the health sector broadly. I think that probably an army of PSWs would not be overstating our need. Once again, committee, any comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Moving on to item 2, please, Mr. Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair. Item 2 is a resolution seeking approval for the Bonnechere Manor and Miramichi Lodge 2024-25 long-term care service accountability agreement with Ontario Health. A recommendation that the Health Committee recommend that County Council authorize the warden and clerk to sign the extending letters for the extension of long-term care service accountability agreements from March 31, 2024 until March 31, 2025 between Ontario Health and each of Bonnechere Manor and Miramichi Lodge for submission by the deadline of March 28, 2024, and further that County Council pass a bylaw to amend bylaw 59-23, being a bylaw authorizing the warden and clerk to continue the long-term care service accountability agreement.
Thank you. Mover, please. Warden Emo, seconded by Councillor Yon. Background, please, Mr. Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair. Through the committee background, Bonnechere Manor and Miramichi Lodge each entered into a long-term care service accountability agreement with Ontario Health. The request to sign extending letters for the extension of the LSAAs for each of Bonnechere Manor and Miramichi Lodge from March 31, 2024 until March 31, 2025, and submit by the deadline of March 28, 2024. The extending letters to the LSAs are attached as Appendix LTC 2.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? These are our standard extending letters. Committee may, part of the reason for our somewhat extensive report today, because we did advance the committee week to the first week of March this year. You may actually recall, I do not know if you will, I looked it up. Last year, actually, there was an extension because we did not do this, either of these SAWs, the LSAW or MSAW, until April. There had been the 1-month extension, but as committee will be aware, the end of the provincial fiscal year is the end of this month. In any event, if there's no further questions or comments, all in favor? Carried. Moving on, please, Mr. Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair. Through to committee. Number 3 is the multi-sector service accountability agreement for Bonnechere Manor Senior Adult Day Program. A recommendation that the Health Committee recommend that County Council authorize the Warden and Clerk to sign the extending letter for the extension of the Multi-Sector Service Accountability Agreement from March 31, 2024 to March 31, 2025 between Ontario Health and the Bonnechere Manor Senior Adult Day Program for a submission deadline of March 28, 2024, and further that County Council pass a bylaw to amend bylaw 60-23, being a bylaw authorizing the Warden and Clerk to continue the multi-sector service accountability agreement.
Thank you. A mover, please. Councillor Frenier, seconded by Councillor Weir. Background, Mr. Blackmore.
Thank you, Chair. A background, Bonnechere Manor has been operating the Senior Adult Day Program in Renfrew since February 1997. For the continuation of funding for Bonnechere Manor Senior Adult Day Program, Ontario Health is requesting to sign the extending letter for the extension of the Multi-Sector Service Accountability Agreement from March 31, 2024 until March 31, 2025, and submit to Ontario Health by the deadline of March 28, 2024. The extending letter to the MSAA is attached as Appendix LTC 3.
Thank you. Committee, questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. I'd now seek a motion to approve the long-term care report as a whole. Warden Emo, seconded by Councillor Nicholson. One final opportunity for questions on anything on the long-term care report. I see none. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We will now return to the agenda. Item 8 is Board of Health minutes. There were none at time of mailing. That continues to be accurate, Mr. Kelly.
That continues to be accurate.
Thank you. Any new business? I see none. There is a requirement for a closed meeting pursuant to Section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the purpose of a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board with respect to the Renfrew County and District Health Unit. I'd now seek a mover, please. Warden Emo, seconded by Councillor Wilmer. All in favor? That is carried. We are now in closed session. Welcome back, everyone. Very timely. The final item for today's meeting, the date of our next meeting shall be Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. I would now seek a motion to adjourn, please. Councillor Yon, seconded by Councillor Wilmer, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you.